I mean, we have the most opportunity in the history of the world. I made this post the other day about the CEO of Costco. So this guy, his name is Ron. I don't know if you know his story. He's incredible.
Sure.
He started as the forklift driver and worked his way up. Yeah, the company he was working for got merged with Costco. He eventually led a department. Then he became the head of merchandise. Then the vice president, then president, and he just became CEO. So he went from making $3 an hour part time going to community college to the CEO of a $400 billion company. And some people were commenting, and uh, they were saying like this will never happen again. I'm like, well, first off, it probably will.
Yeah.
And second, the when he was working as a $3 an hour forklift driver, there was no opportunity for him to learn things online, for him to put himself out there, for him to explore other entrepreneurial endeavors of his own. It's such a better time,
Oh,
to be doing anything.
yeah. The information that is at our fingertips, and the opportunity to connect via social. Listen, social gets certainly a well-deserved bad rap at times for being a toxic place. But on the other hand, I've always felt like it's made my world bigger. I can have a dialogue with people that I never would have known about, a good dialogue, hopefully, meet people like yourself, and just put up your work as whether your goal is to make money or just to share it with the world. It's an incredible thing. And yeah, there will be the equivalent of that guy because those people find their way into situations. And it's never a linear path. I think personally, some of the most interesting people I know are people who have followed what I would call the drunkard's path, right? They start out doing one thing and they bounce to another. And, their curiosity and inherent talent and breaks and all the things we've been talking about lead them into this very interesting place. Probably the most boring people, no disrespect, are people who inherit whatever, family money they might have and get staked to a family business and just kind of do their thing for the rest of their lives. Sometimes that's valuable, but by and large, it's not interesting.
Oh, you're so right. And like people are just a combination of their experiences and what they know, right? Uh, so by default, whoever has the most interesting experiences is gonna it's gonna be a pretty unique character and person. And uh, it's often the case. Like I was reading this thing the other day about how so many of the greatest founders of all time studied philosophy
Yeah.
in college. And that's such an interesting thing because you would think that, oh, the founder of Netflix, the founder of PayPal, like these huge companies would have studied finance or business management or things like that. But no, it's actually human nature and things like that that are most important to really understand to be able to create something that positively, in fact, impacts a lot of people.
I think about one very close friend of mine in particular, a guy who I went to high school with, who's one of my closest friends in the world. We have never lost touch with one another, and that's a long time. And he studied philosophy in college, and now he is a criminal defense attorney. So I just think of him, with these very large ideas and the ideas of good and bad, and the fact that we all come from this, these long traditions. And he's kind of parlayed that whole thing into something that you wouldn't necessarily connect with what he does today. But you're absolutely right.
And then, in fairness, on the other side of the spectrum, the people who commit everything to one thing, that gets really interesting too. Like that,
Yeah, there are the ultra passionate among us who, you say like, oh, you want to help them along and kind of get them out of their myopic box.
yeah, but they're not gonna, and they're just
No.
gonna do that thing. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I love those people too. And that's like one of the big things that, I love to cover here on the hobby letter. And it's like a guy who loves goldfish and he's going to commit his entire life to goldfish. There's this guy, his name's Luke. He has 10 million followers and he only shows videos of goldfish and he talks about goldfish. He sells goldfish food. There's another guy who makes content about pans. like frying pans, and he has 500,000 followers about pans. Yeah, I mean, if you pick one thing and you stick with it, usually it works out.
Hey, become an expert, right? Like, follow your passion, become an expert, go all into the deep end of the pool. Now, I would hope that in each of those examples, these people, take a little time off and binge watch something or have another kind of hobby. I'm as bad as, I'm not the best example of the world because again, I just, I don't have a lot of hobbies. I enjoy doing what I do. But anyway, becoming an expert is definitely content. We use this word content all the time. And at its heart, what is good content? It's about connecting with somebody that maybe, is like you or somebody who is, again, intellectually curious, might not know that they like frying pans or goldfish or combining the two. But anyway, you're putting them together.
And the truth is, I bet a lot of the people who follow the goldfish and frying pans, they don't like goldfish and frying pans either. They just love the enthusiasm of someone who's really passionate about something. And it
Yeah.
really doesn't matter what that is. It's the great secret of social media is what I think.
I
Because
think authenticity, yeah, like, in a world of just fake stuff and of we are all getting marketed to 24/7, 365, that kind of authenticity and real passion that is not necessarily only about monetizing it is very refreshing and innocent in a certain way and engaging.
totally. And it's not just social media. This is happening, in businesses and in regular conversations and meetings and phone calls. It's, a lot of these things like you were talking about at the beginning, doing all the like little things right. And that, whether that was in the 80s or 90s, all that stuff is still true today. Like the little things, following up nicely and meeting deadlines and things like that. All that stuff is not to be overlooked in a day and age where what I think is a problem is young people are getting uh, fed the most extreme examples of things.
Yeah.
And, they're getting fed the X guy made $400 million in Bitcoin by age 16, and they're not getting fed the follow up on the emails with correct punctuation and be really nice to everyone and send them gifts and like just do the simple things really well. And I think that's what's missing.
Yeah, and those things are timeless to your point, and like as I said, more power to you for engaging in that way. And yeah, and I think also I think about somebody your age, you have grown up in what I would term anxious times. It's an anxious generation, born into a post 9/11 world, and it's just insane. And and the way that information is pushed and disseminated and it's hard to be off. It's hard to let any of this breathe. I don't care who we are. It's impossible to shut yourself off and say I'm disassociating myself from from everything. But every once in a while, like slowing things down if it's possible and just appreciating nature or whatever it is that lets you breathe is a good thing.
So true. I love it.